there is this invisible, or at least hard to perceive for most humans, network of energy lines that are going across the globe, across the world. And just the way the human body has energy lines, and every living being has energy lines that fuel this physical representation with energy, the earth itself has the same thing. It's been called ley lines, it's been called grid, it's been called energetic grid, and so on and so forth, sacred sites, and even the specific grids or the specific ley lines have gotten individualized specific names. Now, in some ways, while this grid was pre-existent, there was already a grid present on Earth, many otherworldly civilizations, and as well as our own civilizations as humans, have developed this grid to expand it and to utilize it. So if you look at any major civilization, they've always had temples, they've always had sacred sites that were revered as the place to do rituals, as the place to connect with spirit or the non-material world. And these sacred sites were often a particular cave or a particular mountain or a particular lake or the ocean itself. So there is many different ways throughout history, all around the world, independently, cultures have connected with sacred sites. So to us, that says that there is an intrinsic knowing that we have in us that is not just connecting with nature, but that is connecting with nature, sites of energetic significance. Sites of energetic significance are places that hold a different charge, that hold a different power to them. When we go to these sacred sites, now, mind you, it does not matter if there is a temple on there or not. If we go to a particular site of this kind of energetic significance, we feel it. It's viscerally, tangibly experientiable. So our body often either is questioning what is this energy, or it's relaxing naturally because it feels safer. And also, many people have experienced accelerated forms of healing, physical, emotional, mental. Many people have experienced an easier way to access meditative states, expanded states of consciousness when they went to these sites of energetic significance. I'm sure many of you have had your own experiences at these sites of energetic significance around the world. Maybe even as a child, maybe even as going with friends to a particular camping trip, or maybe doing your own spiritual travels to sacred sites that have called for you. Now, in contemporary society, we have been admiring ancient civilizations and their creations, wondering and curiously trying to understand how did ancient civilizations thousands of years ago manage to build some of these miracles of architecture, some of these ancient sites like the pyramids. And at the same time, we're wondering, why did they do that? And why exactly at that particular space, at that particular spot? Well, way before humans could actually build these incredible creations, they also had, just like you do, a natural sense that a particular place was powerful, a particular place had an interesting and potent energy to it. Maybe they went to these places and had communication with otherworldly consciousness or higher planes of consciousness, or the consciousness of non-material beings that are present in their area. And as some of you know or feel or have always sensed, there is a great ecosystem that is operating that is non-material. What does that mean? We're not just talking about humans that have lived and passed on and their spirits are present at cemeteries. We're talking about spirits of nature, elementals. We're talking about spirits of a different kind that are more densely populating these energetic sites. And we would wonder, why is that so? Well, in some ways, spirits are attracted to energy. Spirits are attracted to places where the connection to the material realm in which we are living, in which we are experiencing the human experience, the veil is really thin at these sacred sites. So communication with humans, communication with other significant energetic sites is much easier established at these points. Imagine them to be like routing stations, or imagine them to be like the cell phone towers of energy, of the energetic grid. If you're somehow closer, you have stronger reception. And stronger reception means there is a deeper sense of communication. There is also a stronger energy that's present. The human body, as some of you are familiar with, for example, traditional Chinese medicine, has meridian lines. These meridian lines have specific points that connect to specific organs or the specific networks of our body. When these points are stimulated, then the body creates a greater harmony within, or healing occurs in an accelerated way. That's how acupuncture was created. Its origin history is still a bit of a mystery, by the way. Now, in a similar way, sacred sites around the world hold a powerful energy. It's almost like there are wells through which energy comes through and attracts energetic beings and attracts humans. Even nature in itself acts slightly differently at these sites of energetic significance. It's either, very often, there is a sacred silence at these places. There is a quiet, there is a reverence at these places. Sometimes even a bit of an eerie feeling. This is not natural. Why does it feel so different than the rest of nature? So some of the sites that we went to felt like that. Now, if we learn how to make sure that we have a strong alignment within ourselves, then no matter which site we go to, we'll be able to rely on what we have internally. And this is what Earth Keepers training is about. It's about strengthening your own internal connection and your internal alignment. So no matter which place we go to, be it a beautiful, powerful, energetic site on top of a mountain or a Mayan temple, or be it a site of collective trauma, which are also considered sites of energetic significance, because they have held energy that has prevented for the energy to move. You will also see, for example, in traditional Chinese medicine, interesting metaphor or parallel in that sense. If an organ or a certain area is currently challenged, or there is pain, or there is some sort of disease, Your acupuncturist will put a lot of needles in that particular area to make sure that the energy moves clearly out of that place and balances out with the rest of the body, right? Which is why we are also guided to go to sacred sites, sites of collective trauma, clearing out energy, balancing the energy there to create a greater harmony. Now, this was to give you a little bit of an overview. Why we do this work? Why is it important right now, more than ever? Well, we are going through an accelerated process of evolution and growth. In this accelerated process, every aspect that contributes to our evolutionary process as consciousness is an important piece, is an important variable, is an important element for our growth and evolution. The greater the balance is throughout this energetic grid, the more people, the more humans, the more of nature will have access to the energy of these sacred sites around the world. A harmonization of the energy occurs. This harmonization allows for entire fields to uplift in the energetic frequency that's held. Think about it this way. You have a cell phone, right? You don't have to stand by the cell phone tower to get good reception. But if there is multiple cell phone towers in the area, they create a field in which you have reception. You don't have to even think about where the cell phone towers are because your cell phone knows where they are. It connects automatically with them. And even if one cell phone tower isn't working properly, it still operates in this field of the many towers that consistently provide a certain frequency for the phone that you hold to communicate. We as humans are even more complex cell phones connecting to cell phone towers of this earth. How interesting is that? Our consciousness has a way of naturally connecting and communicating with these many places that are like the cell phone towers of the earth. How cool is that? We have a very complex technology integrated in our being, and cell phones are merely a crude way of humans' recreation of that which we have already inside. Now, when the guides presented to us, oh, there is so many countries with so many sacred sites around the world, I was thinking, wow, this is a little overwhelming. There's way too many countries and way too many sacred sites, and how could we possibly do this in even one lifetime? Now, of course, with modern travel and technology, it's a little easier, but it's still incredibly resource intensive, both on a personal level and also as an organization. To prepare for these things takes months. Try to navigate places that have been, or countries that have been in conflict or in war. Places that are not necessarily easily accessible because they're in the middle of the thick jungle of a country. Places that are not necessarily very inviting because they used to be sites of a trauma that has occurred sometimes decades ago, sometimes hundreds of years ago, sometimes thousands of years ago. But nonetheless, we were also given the guidance how to prepare ourselves, how to build a stronger internal alignment that allows us to navigate to these sites without losing our alignment, without getting into quote-unquote trouble. Really being able to navigate, connecting to different places and staying neutral. being able to not just connect to these places, but observe what it brings up within us, and also through our connection to even higher planes, bring any type of energetic support to this particular site that we visit. If a site was inactive or dormant, it could be reactivated. If a cell phone tower wasn't working anymore, it would be attuned so it consistently works and connects with the other cell phone towers around the world. And in that sense, it became this very beautiful and interesting spiritual exploration and adventure, which has taken us to many, many countries around the world. And we have also started to learn and to train with the guides of support how to connect our consciousness to energetic sites around the world without having to go there in person.